what did you find about, taking over these stores? What was I mean, I guess you're already talking about what the culture was like, but
Culture.
how did you start to change that? I mean, I have my own stories about when we bought our resale and what that was like, but when you're taking over a turnaround opportunity, like setting the tone for changing the culture and what you will tolerate is extremely important. So can you talk about that? And I mean, you talked about it with with the phone and some of the other things, but how did you start to like turn around that with employees?
Yeah, so we had a pizza franchise coach that we found. I don't even know, on social media somewhere. So that was huge. Um, because we didn't have the pizza background. So he was very instrumental in saying, "Hey man, you're going into a business I know a lot about. You need to do things differently." And so one of the things we had this book called Buy-in, getting a buy-in from people. So, and my background is training leadership, and I love to train. So I'm like, I'm going in, I'm training everybody. I hired a manager that had 5 years of experience in the brand. I'm training him too. I'm like, dude, you know the operations, but I'm gonna show you how you lead people and you get people to work with you that especially in the industry of food, right? Food is known for people cursing at you. You look at Gordon Ramsay, screaming at people, throwing food at people. And I'm coming in with a model of high customer service. You're my customer, the employee. The customers are my external customer, but I need to treat you fairly because I'm trying to grow this business, right? And so it's a really different tactic that a lot of people are not using. You see Chick-fil-A using it, right? But to have people think of excellence is not something that you see, right? You see the TikTok videos of people going into a Little Caesars or another quick service place and they're fighting with the customer. You're like, we're not having that here. You know, um, we want to serve people. They're coming to buy a product, and we must do everything that we can to service them and make them happy to come back. Because on pizza, right? If you get a customer for a lifetime, you might have them for 20, 30, 40 for their whole life, right? They might buy once a week, twice a week. And people don't, employees don't know that. They're just like, oh, this person is getting on my nerves. I'm like, don't you know that person is trying to pay us money to get food to feed their family? And you're telling me we don't want to help them out? Are you crazy? So, I kind of I'm a little bit different, So I go in there and I'm like, hey, let me show you how to do it. Right. And so one thing, I never ask anyone to do anything that I won't do myself. So I go and I sweep the floor, I make the pizzas, I take phone calls, or I take garbage out, and so one of the biggest things I'm trying to change right now is how we open and how we close, right? So there's a thing about, you should open to close and close to open. And the number one thing that gets on my nerves when people leave garbage everywhere. And oh my God, I'm like, I walk in the store early in the morning because I usually will go by the store early in the morning just to see how it looks. I'm like, why are you leaving garbage in the front? I didn't train you that way. Oh, Karriem, we forgot. I said, no, you didn't forget. You just didn't want to do it. So you have to change the culture, right? And so how you do it, sometimes we have like gift cards, or um we have like contests. And we're like, hey, whoever does the best on this, then we'll give you a gift card, or we'll give you an opportunity to do something, or we'll give you a free soda. um, but culture is huge. I mean, you don't go to a lot of places where, and I give you an example. We were getting to a point where we're growing sales. We didn't have enough staff because we didn't know how busy it was. So people closed. Two stores closed one Friday. We didn't even know it. And we get all these people coming to the store. I'm like, where are you coming from? We're like, we're driving 20 minutes because the store up the street closed. And I told everybody to come to your store. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what are we going to do? We don't have enough people. And what happened was that we were getting backed up on our online orders because we had so many people in the lobby, and the online order people started to get upset, right? And so the next day, I had the online order people's numbers. I called them the next day and I said, I want to tell you, I'm sorry. You had to wait a little bit longer for your order. And the people were like, what? What are you doing? Like, we already knew the lobby was busy. We knew our order was going to be backed up. I said, but hey, I'm the new owner. I need to grow this business, and I need to let you know that we are changing everything that you used to deal with before. And people were like, thank you very much for the call. I'm like, and I said to people, how many people want, you did an order online from, let's just say Panera or McDonald's or Taco Bell, and then they called you back and said, thank you. You don't hear that. So that's the stuff that I try to change the culture, kind of like the second store we took over, and, it's a small community. People know everyone. And then they see me, right? First of all, they said, I didn't know a guy like you owns this store. I thought it was this big corporation. And then I said, no, I own it. And I'm trying to make an impact in your community. And this is what I'm trying to do. And I need your help to do it, because people need to know as a franchise. And I know some people they want to run it semi-absentee, but you have to have a face. So maybe the manager is the face. Maybe you need to put yourself and say, we are the owners, and this is what we want to do with this location. You might not be there every day, but you have to make the culture, because the franchisor is not going to help you with your culture, right? They're going to give you some ideas, but you have to go in and say, this is the culture I want. If somebody wants to patronize my business, then I want them to step into an environment. Yes, it might be a certain brand, but the brand is the brand, but the store is totally different, right? Like I could go into a store right now. I could go into, like I went to a quick service restaurant the other day. That's one of the things I started doing, right? Just going in and patronizing them. And no one said hello to me. And I'm like, are you kidding? I'm in your lobby, wanted to give you money, and you're not going to say hello. And it was like, so that's the stuff where when you look at franchising, no matter what, if you're in service, if you're in food, you're selling a product, what type of service are you going to bring to the customers that want to give you their money? And if you're making it hard for them to do that, then really, like, do you really want their sale?
Yeah. Man, you're bringing up so many memories. I feel like you're triggering my PTSD right now.
I know, right? I know being a food, but I'm gonna tell you, one of the things that I've learned about being in this industry, if you can't serve people when they're not spending 20, 30,000 on one product, other industries, they have a higher ticket value. We're doing $15 per ticket. If I can't serve you with excellence at this low point, I'm not going to serve you with excellence if I'm doing a higher ticket. So that's what has taught me to really respect people in this industry that has been disrespected for many years, to a point where my team members always say to me, Karriem, what's up with you? And I said, one, I'm a man of faith, right? Two, when we have an issue, they say, let me ask Karriem what to do about it before I do something. I'm like, listen, I give you the power to solve the problem, right? And so one of the things I do, I said, we don't argue with customers. We fix their problem. And if we have to remake the item or make the item for free, then we'll do it. Because guess what? They're going to come back next week, right? I said, don't argue with people, so it's interesting. It's interesting, so.
Yeah.
Different flair in the industry that's known for being hard-nosed,
If you enjoyed this short clip from the podcast, you can check out another short clip right here. Or if you want to watch the full episode of this podcast, you can watch that here. And remember, knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge that's power. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.